Welcome again, Steve Slack here with part 2 of the tutorial for Sense. When we finished off on part 1, we created a tank and a turret on that tank, and we were ready to start adding more to the game. The first thing I want to do is actually set the turret so that we can aim it, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to go into the tank turret, and inside the tank turret, inside the forever area, we're going to add another command, another motion command, and this motion command is that we're going to point towards, and we're going to point towards the mouse pointer. Now you'll see straight away that our turret is pointing towards the mouse, and whenever we move the mouse, the turret stays pointing at the mouse. Okay, and obviously now when we move the tank, which we do by starting the game, and if we move the tank forwards, we can still turn the turret to face the direction we want. Even if we're turning the tank or moving the tank, we can keep pointing in the direction we want. So that's our aiming function, and that allows us to point in any direction. Okay, if we put our tank back in the normal position, there's one other thing that I want to do with this point towards, and that is we're going to make a condition so that when we're off the screen it doesn't actually point towards the mouse, because when we're editing we don't want that pointing in another direction to what we're using in the game. So inside our forever loop we'll stop that, and inside our forever loop we'll have an if command. Now if commands are the way of making the game do what we want it to do. So we're going to put the point towards mouse pointer in the if command and put that in the forever loop. Now currently there's no condition set, but we'll set the condition, and we want to create quite a big condition. What we're going to do is we're going to make this condition with AND statements which link together different parameters. I'm going to use less than or greater than. We're also going to use inputs of the mouse X and the mouse Y. Now obviously we're going to need more than one of these to get everything that we want, so we're going to add our mouse Y and we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to duplicate our mouse X as well, and we're going to duplicate our less thans and our greater than. And we basically want one of each, so mouse Y less than and mouse Y greater than, mouse X less than and mouse X greater than. And then we just need to set the screen parameters in that. Just move them in so we can see them, and the screen parameters, well, it's a 360 by 480 screen, and Y0 and X0 is in the middle of the screen here where the tank is. So therefore if our mouse Y is less than 180 and our mouse Y is greater than minus 180, whenever the mouse is between those two areas inside the screen, then it'll follow this command. And for the mouse X the number is 240, and obviously minus 240. Okay, so what we're saying now, what we're going to say is if mouse Y is less than 180 and mouse Y is greater than minus 180, and mouse X is less than 240 and mouse X is greater than minus 240, we will operate this function. Now obviously we can put the first one in there, but we need more space, so what we'll actually do is we'll do an and we'll duplicate the and we'll put that in there. So we've now got 3 spaces and we need to do it again, so we'll duplicate the and put that in there. So we now have 4 spaces. Put all 4 of these in here, like so. Sometimes it's quite difficult getting these really accurate, and we have to separate them out again to get the items in. But if you see, we've got them all in there now, all 4, and we just need to link them back in. So that and goes into there, move that across, and this hand goes into there. So that's now placed into the if, We'll just expand, move across, you see that they're all in there. If we put that into the if command, now basically what we're saying to this sprite is, if the mouse Y, which is the Y position of the mouse, which is from here to here, is less than 180 and it's greater than minus 180, which is down here as you can see on the mouse indicator, and the mouse X is greater than minus 240 and less than 240, then point towards mouse pointer. What we're saying, if that's not true, don't, basically. So we'll show you that working. We'll start things off, and as you can see, even though we started off, mouse isn't pointing. As soon as we go on the screen, the mouse is pointing at the mouse cursor. Go off the screen, it stops, go on. And that'll help you so that you don't get it going in all sorts of directions when you're trying to change things. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to fire a bullet, or in this case a shell. So we need to create our shell, so we create a sprite and we call it shell, which again is another one of our really well considered names, and we click OK. Now this sprite, we're going to costumes, it's very simple to create. All we need to do is get leave the colour black and have the brush size at 3 pixels, zoom right in and do about that long. And if you want to be really exacting, you could reduce the brush size to 1 pixel and put a dot on the end if you want. If we OK that, that's now our shell created. Now the next thing we need to do is work out how to fire our shell. First of all, we need to place it using a script on the turret. So the first thing obviously we do is we go to Control, and we're going to say when the space key is pressed, we're going to go to our tank turret. And because we don't want it to show up on top of our tank turret, we're going to put this to the back. And to do that, we go to back, and because there's currently 3 layers, if we do 6, that should put it at the back of everything that we're going to put on this game for now. So it goes back 6 layers, it's at tank turret, and obviously we want to hide it before we shoot it because we don't want people to see it moving, so we hide it there. It goes to the tank turret, go back 6 layers, and then when we're about to shoot it, we show it. And the next thing we do is we choose our motion. What we want to do is set it in the right direction, and we're going to use the direction of the turret for that. So we go to pointing direction, and inputs, we've got an OV command, and the OV will basically fetch any parameter from any other sprite and allow us to use it in our program. So what we want to do is point this in direction of the tank turret's direction, and once we do that, you see it'll fire in the direction of the tank turret. And then simply we just as we did with the movement of the tank, we move it, double the tank speed, which is luckily 10 steps anyway, and we do that so many times. So if we do this 10 steps for 15 times, that will give us 150 steps, which is quite a way. And then we get to the under the 150 steps, we're going to hide our button, our bomb. Okay, now if we just try that out, we start our scripts running, we can move our tank position around, and we can fire our bomb. And as you see, when it gets to 150 steps, it stops. You see it firing out there. Okay, on the next tutorial we'll actually explode the bomb, and we'll bring in an enemy tank for you to attack. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial as much as I've enjoyed making it. Goodbye for now.